YouTube, what's going on? We got the craziest drugs you have never heard of. Let's get into the video.
Craziest drugs that you have never heard of. At this point in YouTube history, I think everybody has watched at least one video about crazy or obscure drugs.
Facts.
And while these videos are interesting,
sure.
Usually if you've seen one, you've seen them all. And typically the entries are rather surface level. Fortunately, this video is different. We're gonna cover...
Disclaimer, we do not promote the promotion of doing any of these things. Fuck. I dropped my mic. I'm sorry. I apologize. Please don't leave the video yet, all right? We're gonna we're setting our mics up, but we don't promote any of that, all right? We don't promote the use of this, none of that. But let's keep going in the video. Let's get it.
For drugs that are so random and so unknown by the general public that even super niche internet communities don't know about them. Oh yeah, and this list gets crazier as it goes on. Let's begin. Salvinorin B methoxymethyl ether. If you thought of salvia when you heard salvinorin in the jumbled mess of scientific smart people speak, then you would be correct. But this isn't just regular salvia. This video is about drugs you've never heard of, and this stuff is way crazier than regular salvia. In fact, I think a good name for this would be super salvia. But in case you're unfamiliar with regular salvia, let me recap quickly. You see, with regular salvia, from every trip report that I've seen, using salvia is almost a guaranteed miserable time. And even at that, the bar is so low for salvia that even a good experience is pretty much just not being as traumatized as the majority of people that take it. But salvinorin B isn't regular salvia. This drug is salvia's crackhead cousin. Honestly,
first off, people that do salvia, I don't understand y'all. I never get why you want to put yourself through a traumatic event like that. I heard one dude on TikTok, I watched the TikTok, he a rapper, right? I seen the reel. He said he did salvia, and he lived for 5 years as a woman. He had boobies, he had vajay, he had all that as a lady for 5 years, had a family, had a job. And you know when he came out of it, how long he was actually in that shit for? 42 seconds, my nigga. Anything that make 42 seconds feel like 5 years? Hell no. Like, it makes no sense. Like, why you even want to even indulge in some stupid ass shit like that? 42 seconds, 5 years. Insane.
For all intents and purposes, this drug is probably one of the most cursed compounds ever made for a variety of reasons. For starters, the National Library of Medicine states that this chemical is among the most potent and selective kappa opioids known. And in this case, stronger is not always better. To this date, there has only ever been one reliable salvinorin B trip report. And that's simply because even some of the most seasoned psychonauts don't want to touch it. Likely because it's a cursed compound with a ridiculously long half-life. According to sources, salvinorin B is 5 times more potent than salvinorin A and lasts for a duration of 2 to 3 hours, which brings using this drug into the realm of sheer insanity. If you were crazy enough to want to try this drug, you would need to heavily mentally prepare yourself beforehand, because breakthrough drugs like salvia and DMT are known to cause time dilation, which means that your trip could feel longer than it actually is in real life. Time dilation is one of those things that's commonly discussed online, yet nobody really knows how or why it happens.
If that shit lasts 2 to 3 hours, and that nigga said he lived 5 years for 42 seconds. That means if you take that and it lasts 2 to 3 hours, you probably live 10 lifetimes, 20 lifetimes as different people. Like, why would you want to even do that to yourself? It don't make sense. It don't make no sense.
In a post I found on the DMT forum, a user states, "I felt like I lived an entirely different life in the DMT world. It felt like 10 years or so. I even had a family." And if that's not crazy enough, another user commented on this post saying, "This happened to me on salvia, and I had absolutely no awareness of this life. I lived a whole lifetime in another life, and then zap, I'm in my bedroom. It was unsettling to me." And another user discussing his trip wrote, "What feels like an eternity only lasted 15 minutes. Keep in mind, this is just regular salvia, which only lasts 5 to 20 minutes. Considering salvinorin B is 5 times more potent and lasts about 15 times longer, it's no wonder why so few even dare to try it. So what happened to the person that did take this compound? Well, for that, we actually need to look at the research paper. Yeah, a research paper. The doctors here had the psychonaut in the study measure his dose in micrograms, which is extremely tiny. An average dose of regular salvia is measured in milligrams, which is obviously much more. The psychonaut in this study, which is basically just a fancy name for someone who likes psychedelics, said the following about his experience with salvinorin B. "My head was observed to contract, and my face was..." Psychonaut.
Psychonaut. Welcome to this the point of the video where I start to turn things up a little bit, and I'm just start saying a lot of random shit, doing a lot of random things. You may be like, why is he doing this? And I don't give a damn. Let's continue on. Psychonaut.
Frozen in a frighteningly blank expression, as if I were having a stroke. My hands adopted a strange pose and waved around very slowly, alternately creepily awkward and graceful. I remembered none of this. Then, when talking about
you can't handle the truth,
but actually breaking through on the chemical, which basically means losing track of your current reality and entering hyperspace, they wrote, I wasn't actually perceiving any objects in my environment. It was my mind that I was perceiving as a manifestation of the movement of a 5-dimensional object through a 4-dimensional membrane.
That shit crazy though.
Whatever that means. Considering this was such a minuscule dose, I can't imagine the trip report someone might come back with if they took a full send level dose. Luckily for you guys, there is actually one other trip report on the entire internet, although it isn't reliable as an actual research paper. This trip report is simply titled, I Cannot Comprehend What Happened, and it's actually written by a career chemist who synthesized the compound himself, and upon taking it was transported into an entirely different life in the 1950s. This is his quote on the experience. I fell through my floor into an endless array of
my nigga said he fell through the floor. I'm not taking nothing that make me feel like I'm falling to hell, nigga. What? You standing there. You sit there, you looking around, you like this, nigga, you nervous, you scared, you nervous, nigga, you nervous, you scared, you nervous, nigga, you nervous, you scared, you nervous, nigga. You cannonballing like this, all the way to the ground. All you see around you is some fucking darkness. What type of shit is that, nigga? Huh? Come on, man. This is clearly hell. Like, come on, man. What are we talking about, man? What we doing?
Keep going. Bottom and felt my body hit the ground. A creature walked towards me and grabbed me by the neck and said, in a disturbing voice. Then he threw me up and I landed. I stood up and realized that I was in the 1950s. The trip went from impossible events to me simply existing in a different time. I walked around on the street and found a newspaper on the ground. I could read each and every article, and on the top it read August 6th, 1953. I didn't know that it wasn't real. It was all I knew. I could remember my life, but it wasn't me. It was the life of a person that I was in 1953. I could remember my childhood, school years, first job, everything. As potentially cool as it may seem to almost time travel, this one part of this one story doesn't make this compound seem any less terrifying. 4-CMA. Like many of the obscure chemicals on this...
This shit get worse than salvia? Insane work. Hell no.
Finding information on 4-CMA is not easy. That's because 4-CMA is a research
chemical. My nigga got drew with one eyebrow. He didn't deserve that. You should have put an eyebrow on that nigga. Next time you make a fucking video, put an eyebrow on my nigga, man. Fuck.
If you don't know what research chemicals are, they're basically synthetic chemicals that were Frankensteined in a lab as part of a research project in an attempt to either improve on an existing chemical or to create an entirely new drug. Basically, research chemicals are the result of scientists crafting random stuff like they're brewing potions in Minecraft. The thing is, most of these chemicals don't make the cut, typically because they either have terrible side effects or they aren't useful medically, or they just lost funding on the research. If the established drugs that most people know about are the tip of the iceberg, then research chemicals pretty much cover the rest of the iceberg all the way to the bottom. 4-CMA is a research chemical that was originally synthesized in the 1960s, as it was supposed to be a stimulant that behaved similarly to an amphetamine. Despite what scientists expected, however,
a stimulant that remains insensitively to whatever the fuck he just said, because I don't remember.
4-CMA had a much more antidepressant effect than stimulant effect in test subjects. But because it was mildly pleasant to use, drug dealers actually pressed this into their own pills to evade authorities. According to sources, 4-CMA was first identified at the Tomorrowland Festival in 2015, where a tablet was found in the possession of a drug dealer. Then it seemed to have disappeared, while a study conducted in 2019 reported detection of 4-CMA in pills once again. Now you might be curious, why is the slightly pleasant antidepressant on this list? Well, it turns out that this drug is highly neurotoxic to its users. In studies done with rats, it was found to permanently reduce serotonin, and in further studies done on it, it was also found that, quote, administration of 4-CMA caused a prolonged reduction in the levels of serotonin in the brain 1 month after injecting a single dose of the drug. In other words, it physically kills your serotonin receptors permanently. Now, to make things worse, there are still vendors that are knowingly selling this toxic chemical with no regard for the general public. This is bad because these drugs can easily end up in a wide variety of recreational pressed pills that are sold on the black market. In regards to this, in the Research Chemicals subreddit, one user wrote, "Nice. A substance that could fry your brain like only a lifetime of MDMA use could in one sitting," which I feel is pretty accurate. And it's even been reported that abusing this chemical could leave you with, quote, "an irreversible depression that would be like an MDMA come down every day for the rest of your life." Although it's been speculating that reaching this state would require multiple large doses over a long period of time.
I wouldn't want to take nothing that would destroy my brain mentally. Like, I'm just depressed. Like, after you take it, the rest of your life is depressing. Like, to want to even do that, you probably already ready to get on down. You know what I mean? If you get what I'm saying, you get what I'm saying. You put 2 and 2 together and you understand what the fuck I worded it. You know what I mean? Stop trying to tell me everything that you don't understand, but everything that you want me to understand at the same time, nigga. You came to my video to watch this video here. Every time you seen the video that I was playing with, you was watching and seeing it and making sure that you understood what I was saying, right? So, also, like I was saying earlier, though, nigga talking about something. You want to dive all the way to hell? Nigga, you taking drugs that's going to make you feel like you falling in a hole all the way to hell? Nigga, what the fuck? What type of shit is that? Don't make sense, do it. No sense at all. It's insensible. Incorrectly insensible.
You don't want to take the chance at permanently damaging your serotonin neurons.
Why don't he got another eyebrow? This shit pissing me off. Give my boy eyebrow. The nigga sitting here looking at me like he fucking insane, man. Why he got one eyebrow? And why his head so big? Why the hat so little?
Strongly recommend staying away from this drug. I almost want to call 4CMA super MDMA, but it's really not the case. It's honestly just the worst of both worlds. The upside of MDMA is completely subdued in 4CMA, and the downside of MDMA is amplified to such an extreme degree there is absolutely no value in the trade-off. Pyros. No, not the TF2 pyro. Pyros is an abbreviated word for the class of drugs known as pyrolidinopherones. And they're
man, say that shit. Pyrolidinophenone, man, fuck you.
If you remember the bath salts epidemic from about a decade ago, well, pyros are to blame. They're pretty well known in the fringe drug community as being the most addictive class of chemicals on Earth. And when I say most addictive, I'm talking about 20 times more addictive than crack. These drugs are absolutely insane, and they don't even hold a candle to the mainstream drugs.
Shut up. No disrespect to you, though. You know what crack do to people on the street regularly? And this motherfucker said it is 20 times stronger than crack. If a nigga steal your car, steal your TV, steal your anything you got for some crack, this shit, that nigga steal your soul. He'll steal your life force and sell it. He will find a way to steal your life force and sell it. You know what I'm saying? In order to get this shit here. It's a nigga out there right now that's addicted to this shit, and he has sold souls to the Grim Reaper for that shit in return. It ain't, if they do that for crack, imagine what the fuck they do for this. You know what I'm saying? They ain't playing. He want what he want. He gonna get what he gonna get. And if you got a problem with it, then he go, matter of fact, I'm finna reenact what he gonna do. He gonna come up on you like, you know what I'm saying? Hey man, I need more of this stuff. If you got a couple of dollars, you ain't got no money to give him. He was like, well shit, if you can't give me no money, I'm gonna get your life. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, he gonna get that motherfucker and he gonna shank your ass up. And hopefully you make it, right? But he gonna make sure you don't. Cause now, once your soul come leaving, he gonna try to put it in the cup. Close it down, lock it up. Call the Grim Reaper, be like, hey man, I got something for you, man, if you got what I need. You know what I'm saying? It was a trick anyway. Even if you had the money, he don't care about it. Cause the money ain't enough. He needs you so he can get what he really need. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way he gonna get it. So he rather take this here and put it on you like, make sure you finish and sell you off for it. And that's just a realistic standpoint of what I'm saying.
Known for their addictiveness. For example, with commonly known drugs, most people actively decide to stop using it before their supply runs out. This is definitely not the case with this stuff. Barely anyone in recorded history has started using a supply of pyros and just stopped halfway through out of sheer willpower. In most stories on the internet, people who start a stash of pyros only end their days-long bender because they became full-blown psychotic and ended up in a psych ward, or if they're lucky, started seeing shadow people early on and got scared enough to flush the rest of their supply down the toilet. But this stuff is so addictive that I'm convinced somebody has flushed their stash down the toilet and then immediately gone sewer diving afterwards on a quest to find his precious like Gollum in Lord of the Rings. Because of this, even the
I need it. Fuck, I need it.
Most seasoned drug users won't take this stuff because the compulsion to take more is practically impossible to overcome. In hindsight, it's no wonder we had a bath salts zombie epidemic. Just to clarify, bath salts are literally just pyros. Imagine you're trying to quit a chemical that's 50 times more addictive than crack, and every time you make a stop at the gas station for your nightly Twinkies, a scraggly old dude in the back who smells like salami is tempting you to buy it for a couple bucks. The thing about the bath salts epidemic was that whenever authorities finally got around to outlawing the latest chemical,
Speaking of stank ass nigga, man. And look, man, I know it's random in this off the wall, right, man? I'm not gonna disclose where I work at or nothing like that, but man, it's this one nigga that always come to my job, man. Nigga always smell like stank meat, man. Every day, man. Every single day the nigga smell like meat. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what he do for a living, I don't know what his job is, but that motherfucker always smell like goddamn raw, stank ass, bloody ass meat, man. I'm sick of that shit, man. Take a bath.
Drug lords that sold them would just hire some armchair chemist on the internet to look for slightly different chemicals on the dark web that kinda look the same. Keep in mind, they wouldn't even know what the side effects would be. So basically, they were pretty much just selling random research chemicals to homeless people as test subjects. Because of this, a lot of people got caught up in bath salts addiction around 2012 because they had no idea how addictive they would be. But that's not even it. The most diabolical aspect of pyros is that they make you extremely horny. I'm not joking.
My nigga take pyro. He walking around like these. My boy walking around like these. Everywhere he going, just like these. Imagine he got a little micro mini, man. He walking around everywhere, ready to test something down. And he can't do nothing. Because he ain't got enough.
4-hour edge session with no break or sleep until you literally pass out from exhaustion.
4 hours?
Or get submitted to urgent care. They say that meth can turn you into a gooning degenerate, but this stuff is like meth times 5. To make matters even worse, somewhere along the way, armchair chemists on the internet.
What if you can create your own?
Man, who is you, man? You come in the middle of my video with a recording cut? I don't care about your head, man. You trying to sell me shit on your glasses, on how your glasses minimize your head shines. It don't. I don't got time for this, man. You want to come in my video while I'm recording, man? I got shit to do. We sitting here trying to learn about the drugs that you don't want to get into. And you might already be on some, brother. Come on, man.
By saying, this is what I want.
Man, I don't care about none of that, man. If I miss that skip, I'm about to get mad. I'm about to get mad.
It's not like
I lost my placement. I gotta go back. I gotta find my placement. I'm pissed. Brother, I'm pissed. I don't know where I went. There it is. We're gonna start right here. Let's do it.
Session with no break or sleep until you literally pass out from exhaustion or get submitted.
If you don't like where I started it back at, I don't give a fuck. I'll find you.
To urgent care. They say that meth can turn you into a gooning degenerate, but this stuff is like meth times 5. To make matters even worse, somewhere along the way, armchair chemists on the internet somehow figured to conveniently turn this compound into vape juice, which pretty much makes this invention the world's worst jewel. So the next time your mom gets mad at you for your vaping addiction, feel free to remind her that there's some 45-year-old dude with scraggly hair in his basement vaping super crack and jorking it for 10 days straight. The amount of gooning behavior pyros cause would literally make your average Discord moderator look like a Buddhist monk. Long story short, outside of their extremely addictive qualities, these drugs are well known for turning you into a D1 gooner. Like, legitimately, the Michael Jordan of gooning. From what I've read, this drug easily makes you the biggest degenerate in the world. Trust me when I say, pyros are one diabolical class of drugs. 5-MeO-DMT. 5-MeO-DMT is basically DMT's mysterious grandfather. If you think
this is gonna be the last one, I don't want the video to get too long. I know you might be here and you want to watch with me and everything, but if you want to watch with me and everything, come and find another video. I'll make another one after this one, and if you don't come back, I'm gonna find you and make you come back and watch this video with me as well, man. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? You gonna do it either way it goes. It's gonna happen. There ain't no choice in it. I don't give choices. I give statements.
the sorcerers we talked about in the medieval video were mysterious, you'll be even more intrigued by this chemical compound. This chemical is sometimes nicknamed the God molecule, and surprisingly, unlike other chemicals on this list, this substance is actually naturally occurring. But this isn't found in a mushroom or tree bark like normal drugs. 5-MeO-DMT is naturally occurring in toad venom, of all things. I mean, talk about hardcore. Unlike the more forgiving and consistently spiritual trip brought on by regular DMT, whether or not 5-MeO-DMT is going to be a glowing spiritual experience or an existential crisis was basically basically a coin flip. And that's a problem, because if you choose to inhale the stuff, it is reported that this trip could last up to 2 hours, which is 8 times longer than regular DMT's duration of roughly 15 minutes. And unlike most psychedelics, in which people usually report pleasant experiences when they use the drug with reverence and respect, 5-MeO-DMT doesn't care how nicely you treat it. And that sucks, because if you have a bad time, you could have a very bad time for up to 2 hours. Additionally, in my armchair psychologist opinion, I'd wager that a bad trip on 5-MeO-DMT is at least 10 times worse than a bad trip on regular DMT. To prove this point, I'm calling upon a popular website known to host trip reports. On this website, there's a category for bad trips. For context, with regular DMT, some titles of bad trip reports include First Breakthrough, Ego Loss and Bad Trip, Accelerating the Evil and Ego Death, A Cautionary Tale, Unprepared Liftoff into the Worst Case Scenario, and Too Much for a First Time. Which, to be honest, pretty much sounds like they either took too much or experienced ego death, which is kind of a...
Or too much for the first time. You know what I'm saying? Too much for the first time. It's crazy, you know what I'm saying?
normie experience with psychedelics. Now, on the other hand, here are the titles for...
If you do not give my boy an eyebrow in the next video, I'm pissed!
Bad trip reports on 5-MeO-DMT. Existential horror. Pure horror. Facing psychedelic terror. Unimaginable depths of terror. And I ended up praying to Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's not a super fun way to spend your Sunday afternoon. Honestly, as a word of caution, if you're...
First off, praying to Jesus Christ on a Sunday afternoon is a wonderful thing, brother. Let's make sure we understand that.
Prone to existential anxiety, I would shy away from reading any bad trip reports altogether. Now, it seems like a common theme in these reports that people actually think that they're about to die or actually dying while on the drug. Now, I don't know about you, but taking a drug that makes me believe I'm actually dead and now my only friends are Casper the Ghost...
What that look like to y'all? What does this right here look like to y'all? Exactly.
The Grim Reaper and Harambe totally sounds like a blast. Not. One reason for these reoccurring death themes in trips might be that 5-MeO-DMT is one of the only psychedelics that has the actual capability to kill you. You see, usually psychedelics can't kill you unless you do something really dumb under the influence. 5-MeO-DMT is different though, because unlike most psychedelics, this drug has caused death in at least 2 cases, with the 3 major causes being, quote, suffocation after vomiting, lung shutting down, and cardiac arrest. One interesting trip report I found about 5-MeO-DMT wrote, I cannot emphasize enough how insanely weird, alien, and utterly cosmic this felt. Like I'd broken some type of rule and I'd entered an entirely different universe of some type. If you ask me, 5-MeO-DMT is nothing to mess with. At all. Duster. I know what you might be thinking.
Alright, y'all, that's the end of the video. If y'all enjoyed, make sure that you like, make sure that you comment, make sure you subscribe. Oh! Oh! Oh, God, that hurt. Oh. Ouch. I'll see y'all in the next video, man. Like, comment, and subscribe, man. I enjoyed y'all. Bye.